There are tons of articles written on how to avoid stress, including medical research on how to live a stress-free life. People will do anything and pay anything to live a stress-free life, including me. Let's be honest, nobody likes to be stressed. But is it possible to live a completely stress-free life? Well, stick with me as I share my perspective on this. Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name is Nikki Verd. I am the author of the best-selling book Disrupt Yourself or Be Disrupted. And today I wanted to talk about the danger of being completely stress-free. I actually did this video before, but I had to redo it because I had a copyright strike, and so I'm hoping I do a better job this time around. Well, I'm still learning my way around these YouTube streets. And you may be wondering, am I advocating for stress? No, absolutely not. Stress is one of those things that you can be sure life will not fail to deliver at your doorsteps. You don't have to go looking for stress. You don't have to give stress your address or your phone number or your location pin. But be rest assured that stress will definitely find you. So I'm not advocating for stress, okay? And so the question remains, is it possible to live a completely stress-free life? Well, the short answer is no. Any attempt to actually remove all stress from your life will be extremely stressful in itself. Trying to control every variable in your life will make you a miserable person. Life gets harder when you try to make it easy. That's just the reality. So let go of trying to control everything. Let go of the idea of a smooth sailing, because a ship in harbor is safe, of course, but that's not what ships are made for. And before we get into the video, please take a quick moment to like my video. It helps my channel and helps other people discover the knowledge I am sharing. And if you are new, please hit the subscribe button below as well and ring the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload new content. Learning a new skill or reinventing yourself is stressful, but staying stuck in the same place year in, year out is more stressful and even depressing. Having uncomfortable conversations is stressful, but avoiding every conflict makes your life even more stressful, as nothing ever gets solved. Every problem just gets swept under the table. So, easy is not free. Easy has a cost. An easy life inspires nobody. An easy life is rarely meaningful, and a meaningful life is rarely easy. The foundation to mental resilience is adversity. Human nature doesn't want stress or adversity, but the reality is that a life without problems is a problem in itself. Stress is everywhere, even in happy moments. It is much better to aim to deal with stress in a healthy way than to pursue the unattainable goal of a life without stress. I recently posted something on my social media, a short video that was talking about pain, struggle, suffering. And someone asked a question in the comment section, like, why does life have to be so hard? I quickly responded and said, well, life is always going to be hard. There's no other way around it. So if you really want something, you're going to have to pursue and push through the pain and push through the struggle to get it. And then the same person asked the question again, but seriously, Nikki, why does life have to be so hard? And at that point, I had to pause and think about her question. But why does it have to be so hard? Why does life have to be so stressful? Well, after pondering on her question, I responded and said, hey, I understand the feeling, but honestly, I don't have all the answers. And just in case you thought I had the answer to this big question, well, I don't. But this is what I know about life. I know life is a battle. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. It doesn't matter how tough or how perfect they may look on the outside. Everyone is going through something, from the CEO right down to the janitor. Life is hard, and that's a given. You have to fight and push hard every day to survive. We love the idea of being mentally strong, but we avoid situations that will allow us to build our mental strength. One of my favorite quotes from Helen Keller says, "Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in human nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing." And this brings me to a story about the Biosphere too. There's a story in the early 1990s. Scientists constructed a research facility called Biosphere 2. They created a completely enclosed artificial environment built to study the interaction between life systems in a controlled environment. It was outfitted with representative biomes to let nature run its course. Trees, rainforests, oceans, wetlands, deserts, and savannas were all built in, and several people lived inside the biosphere for an extended time as part of the experiment. But there was something different about the trees. Researchers found that the trees inside Biosphere 2 grew rapidly, more rapidly than they did outside in the real world. But they also fell over before reaching maturation. And the million-dollar question was, why are the trees in the biospheres falling? Everything else seemed fine, but the trees couldn't carry their own weight as they grow. So it took quite a while to discover what the problem was. And so, one of the most profound discoveries made by the scientists had nothing to do with a new way of farming or a cure for some new diseases or anything like that, but rather the discovery they had was the wind's role in a tree's life. When plants and trees grow in the wild, the wind constantly keeps them moving, and this causes stress in the wooden load-bearing structure of the tree. It makes it stronger and resistant. So the question really was, why were the trees within the biospheres such pushovers? Why were they falling over? Well, there was no wind, no stress, no adversity. And those scientists had prepped Biosphere 2 to reflect nature, but wind was one part of nature they didn't or couldn't really account for. One commentator within the biosphere stated, "The lack of wind created trees with much softer wood than the species would normally make in the wild. They grow more quickly than they did in the wild, but were harmed in the long run as a result of deficiency of stress." And I find it quite fascinating that there's something called deficiency of stress. Are you perhaps suffering from a deficiency of stress? Without stress wood, a tree can grow quickly, but it cannot support itself fully. It cannot withstand its normal weight and survive. And in other words, these trees within the biospheres needed some stress in order to grow and thrive in the long run. And I guess it's the same for humans. If there's no wind, like in the biospheres, the trees will end up being much, much weaker and are not able to survive for long. So this happens to people as well. This happens to humans too. People that avoid pain and suffering at all costs without any kind of wind hitting them on a regular basis, they tend to become weak people. They tend to be mentally weak and emotionally weak. In chapter 10 of my book, I talked about purposeful pain. And here's an extract, from that chapter. Some of us avoid pain at all costs, even to the point of sacrificing our own growth. Personal disruption involves pain, just like those who go to the gym can testify that staying in shape involves pain. Women can testify that birthing a new life involves an indescribable amount of pain. Personal disruption cannot fully happen without pain, but understanding the purpose of the pain will help you to handle the frustrations, the obstacles, people, relationships, or attitudes, that may accompany disruption. It will help you to understand why things happen the way they do. Everyone experiences some sort of suffering, rejection, failure, and all sorts of setbacks, but not everyone understands or accepts these as part of life or as part of the growth process. Wind is necessary for creating strong trees, just as adversity or pain is necessary for creating strong and resilient human beings. Maybe you're going through a windy and a stormy season in your life at this point. Well, take heart, keep going. You are getting stronger. Your resilience and your resolve is being hardened. Your endurance is being built, and most importantly, your character is being built as well. You will mature and you will not fall over like those soft trees within the biospheres. Growing trees in the biosphere too took less time, but if you are going to survive in the wild, you're going to have to grow in the wild, even if it means it will take you a longer time to mature. Don't watch Instagram millionaires and start feeling like your life is over. Don't compare your life to people on social media who seem to be having it easy. It's not always what it seems. They may look like they are happier and they are further along than you, but that's not always the truth. It's a nice notion to be shielded and protected from reality and protected from pain or from adversity, but that's not how life works. People with a growth mindset don't just seek challenges, they thrive on it. The bigger the challenge, the more they stretch. As much as you're embracing adversity and fighting for what you want, be wise also to pick your battles. Picking your battles means being selective of the problems and arguments and confrontations you will get yourself involved in. You don't have to fight every battle just necessarily because you want to prove that you can embrace stress, all right? No. Just because you can handle it doesn't mean that you should take it. Speaking of Biosphere 2, I guess you may be wondering, what is Biosphere 1? Well, Biosphere 1 is the real thing. It's here on Earth. You don't want to be completely stress-free while you're here on Earth. It's not even possible. Our physiology depends on our emotional, mental, and energetic challenges to function at its best. And so, some level of stress is good, okay? Stressing your bones with exercise strengthens them. Your muscles become stronger by being temporarily damaged in the gym. I remember when I started working out, I would do maybe just about 10 or 20 squats per day, and I couldn't walk the next day, And if you've ever experienced something like that, you can share with me in the comment section. That is what stressing your muscles does to your body. Another thing I mentioned in my book, Disrupt Yourself or Be Disrupted, is that sometimes your deepest life message will come out of your deepest pain and failures. Remember, stress is what makes a tree strong enough to grow and sustain itself. Sometimes the most messed up people in the world are spoiled kids, kids that had rich parents and they were given everything and never had to struggle for anything in life. There are also some people that are not necessarily from rich parents, but these people have never also exposed themselves to any kind of adversity. And so these types of people also cannot survive in the real world when they're exposed to adversity. And so you need to grow in the wild so that the wind can constantly hit on you because it will make you stronger. Trees may flourish in a protected environment, but these same trees would collapse under the first sign of stress. And the same goes for people. When you have been protected all your life, you will collapse under the first sign of stress. And so, stress of daily living keeps your mind sharp. Life is a mixture of triumph and tragedies, a continuous interplay between pain and pleasure. The danger is in having too much stress to the point where you are now maybe having a mental breakdown or having an emotional breakdown because of stress. No, too much stress that affects your health to the point where you cannot function in everyday life is not what we are talking about. You need to find balance and you need to find help if you find yourself in a very stressful situation. However, you cannot completely escape stress or adversity no matter how hard you try. So don't be afraid to expose yourself to stress, because the good news is that our bodies were built and designed, to evolve and cope with stress. Our brains evolved to cope with the challenges of living, of daily living. Nonetheless, stress can be reduced significantly by training yourself to see a blessing in everything and in everything that happens to you. Any event on close examination can be seen to be partially a curse or partially a blessing. And when you look at life that way, you will significantly reduce your stress level, not avoid it. When you lose a job, for example, or experience a heartbreak or lose a business, it's normal to worry and stress about it. But by changing your mindset and the way you look at it, you can see the possible benefits. Stressing over it can be significantly reduced if you adopt that mindset. So stop trying to figure out ways to avoid pain, but rather find healthy ways to engage with the pain and the adversity. This doesn't mean that you should be naive or stupid or start seeking out, unnecessarily stress, or I'm not saying throw yourself in stressful situations just for the sake of it. No, that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about adopting the mindset where you build a healthy relationship with adversity and with stress. Rather than trying to pursue the unattainable goal of a life without stress, focus on eliminating things that are causing you too much stress and look for healthy ways to engage, with the difficulties and the challenges that are happening in your life. Don't run away from it. And so the more you embrace stress or adversity or pain as part of life and learn how to manage it rather than avoiding it, the better off you'll be in the long run. The deeper your roots will get into the ground like a strong tree, the stronger you will become as a person, the better you will become in interacting with people, and your perception of life will become better and healthier the moment you embrace that stress is part of life. And so I would like to know your thoughts on this. Do you agree with my perspective on stress? Do you disagree? Well, share with me your thoughts in the comment section below. And for more tips to disrupt the mindsets that may be holding you back, check out my best-selling book, Disrupt Yourself or Be Disrupted. It's available on Amazon and on my website as well. I'll share the links in the description below. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video.